I get asked about work-life balance all the time, and my view is that it's such a debilitating phrase because it implies there's a strict trade-off. Jeff Bezos. Yes, that Jeff Bezos, founder, multi-billionaire, and former CEO of Amazon, is on the record as not believing in the concept of work-life balance, that it's overrated and somehow work ethic has become underrated. Just read any of the dozens of stories out there about crazy working conditions at Amazon and you'll know Bezos is serious. Is this over-the-top approach to work the only one that works? If it's your first time here, my name is Jack Wang. I'm a microbiologist, professor, YouTuber, and new podcaster. On this channel, we talk about science, technology, and careers, and this video is a pretty personal one for me because I'll be the first to admit that my life is not balanced. I put a lot of time into everything I do. My job and my family have just as much of my time, but the only way I keep things going is to give up on sleep. This is a good example. I'm on a family holiday in Japan right now, and here I am up at the crack of dawn before any of my family is awake, out on the streets of Tokyo to film a YouTube video and maybe take some photos, but really talking about work-life balance in this video. The irony. Why do I keep doing this to myself, and is this type of relentlessness a good thing in the long run? Today, let's try to figure out if Jeff Bezos is right. If we choose true balance in our work and personal lives, are we destined for mediocrity? Are we looking at work-life balance using the classic 5W and H framework? We are comfortable planting seeds and waiting for them to grow into trees. Jeff Bezos. When is it too early to think about work-life balance? Look, I know the YouTube viewership overall skews young, but on the off chance more mature audiences are watching this, yes, I totally agree. I'm a young whippersnapper with a whole career ahead of me, and there's no need to be afraid of a bit of hard work. That's been the conventional wisdom, but really, it's never too early to think about work-life balance, especially as all the evidence comes in about the impact negative work-life balance has on stress, anxiety, mental and physical health, atomic habits, compounding effect of both good and bad habits over decades throughout your career. Does that mean a student fresh out of uni or college should immediately find work that perfectly balances with every aspect of their personal life? No, you simply won't have the leverage or career capital just yet, but knowing what feels unbalanced to you can set you up for the long term. As you progress in your career, your priorities and responsibilities will change. So it's best if you develop a consistent strategy as early as you can to find your own version of balance. What does balance look like? Well, it all depends. What works for you won't work for someone else. My idea of balance is very different to yours. It doesn't matter what you do though. A teacher like me, marking papers and lesson plans and videos on your weekends or holidays, a first-year intern at a big firm or hospital, or just a single parent trying to pay the bills without your kid catching every communicable disease under the sun. Everyone is off kilter, ready to be unbalanced at a moment's notice. I'm no Jeff Bezos, of course, but I'm a scientist, professor, and YouTuber. Scientists are under constant pressure to publish research papers, obtain funding. Professors have all of those duties as well as teaching responsibilities plus administrative role. YouTubers are under pressure for each video to go quote-unquote viral and grow our channels, but I don't want to compromise on my family commitments either. There's no way to do all of the things I love, it seems, and keep it within the framework of a 40-hour work week. Whose idea was this anyway? There's some debate as to who came up with the 40-hour work week, but it was popularized by the industrialist Henry Ford. By reducing the work week, his employees would have more time to want to drive around and in turn buy the very cars they were building at Ford Motors. There's no point owning a nice car if you never have anyone or anywhere to drive to. Rather cynically, Ford knew that he could make more profit if his employees, and really the rest of the working class America, had more downtime and more desire to relax. Any time over 40 hours work a week need extra pay. This figure is a bit of an arbitrary number though, and most people need to put in a lot more work than 40 hours just to stay ahead. Jeff, what does day 2 look like? Day 2 is stasis, followed by irrelevance, followed by excruciating, painful decline, followed by death. And that is why it is always day 1. Jeff Bezos. Where can a lot more work take you? Here in Japan, the idea of voluntary overtime is baked into the cake, so to speak. The emphasis on collective responsibility in Japanese culture means that everyone prioritizes the needs of, let's say, the company, their boss, their colleagues even, over their own personal needs. Look, I can't lie, this concept is super appealing to me and I respect this idea so much. Everything is organized, well thought out, and planned well ahead of time because everyone involved in the endeavor has put in the extra work. But the fact that there is a term in the Japanese zeitgeist called karoshi, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which literally means death by overwork as a very legitimate and common cause of death. This suggests that this is not a balanced setup. On top of that, there's a sense of loyalty, dedication, and hierarchy to your company or employer, and you're not supposed to leave work until your immediate superior knocks off for the day. The pressure never lets up, and extra hours all add up as well. I respect what this culture has created and how wonderful it is to visit as a tourist or consumer. On the surface, it doesn't seem to be what I'm looking for right now. I can learn so much from this way of working and the productivity it creates, but that's another topic for another day. Where can a lot less work take you? The 4-Hour Workweek is a best-selling book written by Tim Ferriss. From 40 hours down to 4 hours, a promise of more freedom and flexibility if you outsource and automate a big part of your job. This seems absolutely great for those that have the bandwidth to pursue their own careers. It's not a fantastic fit for me though, because I'm in a traditional career path, so to speak. When I talk to young people every day as part of my day job in academic and career counseling, most are looking to find meaning and purpose through a traditional career path. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, scientists, journalists. We don't have the luxury of choosing our working hours and deciding that we should be automating our jobs, unless of course our boss or the whole industry moves in that direction. I think this seems to be tilting the scale too much in the life direction over work and applies more to people venturing out as an entrepreneur. More power to you. I think it's amazing and more of you should get out there and do this, but it doesn't really help me and probably many of you in this moment with our work-life balance. Friends congratulate me after a quarterly earnings announcement and say, good job, great quarter. And I'll say thank you, but that quarter was baked 3 years ago. Jeff Bezos. Why is balance so hard to find? Or motivation versus habits? I am making this video because I'm skewed towards the work side of the work-life balance equation, but I'm sure there are just as many people skewed in the other direction. Maybe you can't find the drive or motivation to do the work you think you need to do to get ahead. You either fall into one of two camps: motivation before action, or action before motivation. It's easy to procrastinate, play games, watch shows or YouTube videos, and tell ourselves that we'll start doing work when it feels right, when motivation or inspiration hits us. How and when this happens is really hard to predict because our emotions, personality, or goals, these are internal or intrinsic to us. The lure of good grades, a high-paying job, the amount of support we have from teachers, parents, and friends, these are extrinsic or external to us. The thing is, none of these factors are really within our own control. Habitual actions or habits leads to motivation. You put in the work first as learning a new routine, learning new skills bit by bit. It will then become more pleasurable to do the thing that you're good at, and you can teach others how to do this thing, which is also quite rewarding. Have a system in place that fosters small incremental learning of new skills as a habit rather than searching out random bursts of motivation outside of our immediate control. How can we make unhealthy obsessions into healthy ones? Where does all of that leave me? Look, I don't personally lack motivation. I love learning new skills, and I can certainly work in better ways though, a lot smarter, and be more selective in what I choose to spend my time on. For example, I'm experimenting a lot with automation and AI. My previous videos on integrating AI into education are linked up here. If automation frees my time up, can I trust myself to use that time wisely to relax? Therein lies the difference between a healthy obsession versus an unhealthy obsession that consumes the other parts of our lives. Are you having constant or recurring thoughts makes you lose sleep? Do you feel anxious or stressed when you don't spend time working on that thing? Do you have difficulty relaxing or enjoying other activities even when you have time off work? I think this is much more meaningful than any arbitrary number of hours you're working a week, because again, everyone has a different threshold or tolerance for how much they invest to any one part of their lives. If I'm honest with myself, again, I'm 3 for 3 on the unhealthy obsession checklist in almost every aspect of my job, but it's not always like that. But maybe I need to think more like a business and do quarterly or monthly reviews. Make a spreadsheet of all the things I spent time on each week over the past few weeks and tally up the hours for the top 10 things that took up the most amount of my time. Reflect on this every week, every month, and see if it's still the 10 things that I want to be spending most of my time doing. If it's not, can I automate or delegate any of them? Or do I need more career capital and leverage before I can get to that point? But at the end of the day, was Jeff Bezos right? Is work-life balance overrated if you actually want to achieve something in life? I have no idea if he's right. In Jeff's own words, people who are right most of the time are people who change their minds often. I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to ask the questions. I'm Wang. I'm off to explore Japan now in my downtime. See you in the next video.